Hey guys, Colton here from the EV Kingdom, and welcome to part 3 of What if Ruby was a speedster. And sorry for this one being late than what I planned. I had to redo it. Anyways, since it's been in a few months since the last part, an important recap. In the last part, I basically went over the events of Volume 2. Since Roman wasn't there, due to being arrested, and Neo as well, due to the events of at the end of Volume 1, and Adam was the one rallying a White Fang, which led to Blake having a panic attack back in their first confrontation. Yeah. And Ruby, he mostly just been spending the entire part learning more about her abilities and figuring out what she can and can't do. With creating a vortex with her hands, stumbling onto phasing, and throwing lightning. Being in the same in part. And Blake slowly but surely he getting exposure of therapy to Adam. Already having their second fight, at the end of Volume 2, which still led to the same outcome. An attack on their town, them facing it. I also read a comment in the last part saying that the army would still be there, but wouldn't be helping fighting. It would be helping. They wouldn't be helping with casualties and collateral. Well, helping people in need, basically. But my main reasoning is Team RWBY was capable of handling a lot. Okay, maybe it wasn't for the last part, and I did want to at least mention that. Anyways, we cut to Volume 3, and Team RWBY, he's been training before the Vital Festival. And I'm honestly just gonna go past this since nothing really changes. Yeah, Ruby's a lot faster. Yes, our team's a lot faster in comparison. And no, I don't see anything different happening. Ruby would still tell Emerald that Yang and Weiss would be in the next match, so that match wouldn't change whatsoever. And nothing really changes up until Pyrrha and Penny's fight. Yeah, Team RWBY's have a faster battle speed, which means they're faster with their reaction timing as well. But again, nothing really changes here. Maybe Ruby practices with her speed during the other matches is at Blake's behest, hence knowing that Adam's still out there, and her confidence level is basically near what it was in Volume 6. Yes. Anyways, that fight happened. Well, the Pyrrha Penny fight happens. Ruby's still sitting next to Emerald because she still believes her as a friend, and Emerald is using her semblance. Now, yes, Cinder does know about Ruby's speed. No, she doesn't know everything about Ruby's speed. And the fact is even if she did, and how are they gonna really stop her irrationally? Anyways, Emerald's using her semblance to make the match worse. Ruby's noticing this and instantly books it before Emerald even notices she's gone. Mercury's there trying to stop her. Ruby sees that he's actually fine, and he taunts her a little bit, not knowing that he can't just get past him. And Ruby's trying to figure out how to stop the match. before idea comes and she does remember, wait, aren't you supposed to be in the hospital? Oh yeah. Oh. And she just proceeds. I I don't know if she does this, but I'm just gonna say it because I like the idea. But she would just proceed to uh, go all out grabbing Mercury and just throwing him into the arena. Him not even realizing where they are at that second because he was not expecting all of that. So he's still playing cocky until he realizes, wait a minute, this isn't that cord. This isn't that hallway. Oh. And yeah, we all know Emerald can, in theory, make an entire room of people will see something, but she passed out after that in Volume 5, so we know it's not something she's naturally capable of or able to do often. So yeah, the fight actually stops there, and Cinder has to call on the attack at a beacon early. Now, a few things do change here, and I'm just gonna go over the Blake part right now because that's honestly the less change. Honestly, that part has the less changes, or at least won't take as long. But one, RWBY is still basically fresh. There's no Neo and Roman here, so she's not gonna get preoccupied with that. At odds are they already got that planned out. We'll figure that out. Now, 2, Penny is alive here, meaning she's helping out in the fight as well. So yeah, that's a big difference. Anyways, going to the Blake thing right now. Blake's on the lookout for civilians or Grim or White Fang members, eventually finding Adam. Now, since this isn't her first time seeing him after her basically running away, as I put it, as I think about this, Blake encountered Adam 3 times in the show. Once in Volume 3, once in Volume 5, and the last time, Volume 6. So 3 times he was exposed to him. And her rationality, he was still strong on that point. Yeah, it wasn't until Yang got there that she was fully capable of keeping her rationality in the fight. But she was still pretty calm. So I'm gonna say here during the third encounter, she's not panicking, or at least as much or as noticeable. So the fight's actually pretty even here. Blake managing to dodge many of the attacks, and attack back. But Adam's still a skilled fighter. Yang would also come by this point, hearing the fighting instead of hearing Blake yelling or screaming. Yes, screaming. And Yang doesn't just rush in out of anger. Her best friend and future girlfriend isn't impaled right now. Yeah, I had to say that, sorry. But yeah, Yang's a little bit more rational here. And isn't just gonna go on blind rage. So this fight actually, it's pretty close to how it was in Volume 6. Minus the fact that Yang doesn't have a robotic arm, they're not as strong as they are there. They're a lot faster, yeah, and they have a better reaction time. But physically speaking, they're about, sorry for the random cut, but they're about their Volume 4 strength. Maybe. Still volume 3 strength, so I'm not really sure why I brought that up honestly. Anyways, that fight still goes pretty well, all for Blake and Yang. Again, dual tag teaming, and Adam still is holding the edge, but it's pretty close. Now, Adam's not gonna straight out lose here because I'm interpreting this like the Volume 6 fight. In that fight, Adam basically had nothing left to lose. Here, he still has things he can lose. So I think he retreats. It's like he did in Volume 5, and hoping Blake would follow him into an ambush, or just follow him to prove his point, which Blake doesn't. And Blake and Yang go to help others out. So yeah, that will change. But now, getting back to RWBY. She's basically just blitzing the Grim and taking them out, and making sure she eats some of her snacks to retain her speed. She notices John and Piera aren't there, so she starts looking for them. And I believe she actually sees John's rocket. It's still in the air. You're firing. Well, yeah. I think she still sees John's locker launching in the air with him in it. Not knowing he was in it, but assuming something was going on. So he starts rushing over. Or to where it was going. Where it came from. I'm mostly trying to figure out where it was, since it wasn't where the school building was. And she inevitably sees the tower, or sees a glimpse of fighting up there, and starts running up. Up because I believe she would have figured this out. Also, I think she did this during canon, so either way, she gets up there. And sees Cinder and Pyrrha fighting. Now, if you remember the post, I made 3. If you remember the post I made a while ago, about 3 options, this is where it comes in. But I'll get to it when I get to the actual situation. Anyways, Pyrrha's basically on the losing end, and Cinder sees RWBY. Now she's the full maiden, and he's her top priority now. Since she actually posed a challenge to her before. So, they start fighting. Now, again, it's still pretty even. Well, if it was pretty close with RWBY having the slight edge in speed, Cinder having the full maiden power made it. It's still close, but Cinder is still a little bit more tricky. But RWBY did during her training for the Vital Festival. Well, remember the feeling she had when she phased. So, and also been practicing with the lightning throwing aspect of her power. So, RWBY also has long range attack now, and can even just phase through some of Cinder's slashes, or bow. So this is actually a really close match. Both of them are getting tired as it goes on. Pyrrha is watching this and slowly getting some of her energy back. And I believe at this point John would not appear. Now, here's where I'm gonna be splitting the possibilities up. This is gonna be outcome 1. Cinder, they're getting exhausted. Seeing John get up there, realizing it's gonna be a 2-on-1, maybe a 3-on-1 if Pyrrha gets back up. So she takes the opportunity of John's sudden arrival, and throws the spear. Here, Pyrrha seeing this jumps in the way to save John. RWBY activates the silver eyes, volume and 3 ends as normal. Now that's one that's one outcome. Here, let's say, now to continue with the other two, I'm gonna assume Cinder didn't do that. And John just started swinging before Cinder had an opportunity to. Like he did in Volume 5. Alright. Pyrrha, seeing this, gets more courage, manages to get up and back into the fight. Now it's a 3-on-1. Cinder, RWBY, he and Pyrrha are definitely the more exhausted of the 4, or John being pretty fresh. So the fight still continues. Cinder's honestly now on the back foot, due to the number and the skill of 2 of the opponents. And I could see Cinder Cinder could still go for a lethal blow to low, to make it less. Which would also lead to her getting more beat up. Up in the process. Yeah, sorry. I brain fart there. But yeah, Cinder would still be pretty beaten up, but she could make an opening to strike one of their weaker opponents, one of the more exhausted opponents. And which, again, could still be Pyrrha. Silver Eyes activate, and in this outcome, Cinder would be worse for wear before the Silver Eye attack. So, if this happened, I could easily see Cinder being way worse for wear than in canon. Losing more of her right side, I believe. No, left side. Either way, she'd lose more than just an arm, eye, and the ability to speak for a while. She may lose more of her left half, maybe part of her leg, and I do believe she would actually be mute after that. I'm not sure how the Silver Eyes really affected her, or like that. I'm just going with an assumption, and based off what happened. And Cinder being in worse condition than she was as in canon. And keep in mind, she fought Osmond right before Pyrrha. That wouldn't have changed. And so she wasn't at full to begin with. But Pyrrha wasn't that much of a challenge. And either. Here, RWBY is actually a challenge. So the damage would be more pronounced. So that's option 2. Option 3, Cinder doesn't get that opportunity. And RWBY just keeps dishing blow after blow. She's still getting exhausted. And keep in mind, she was just fighting a lot of Grimm before this. Cinder's a lot more tricky and requires her to have more energy, use more of her energy and speed. Yeah. Anyways, this fight would basically end for option 3 with Cinder's aura basically breaking and RWBY knocking her out. Them knocking her out to pay for her crimes. The dragon's still there, and they're not in the best situation to face one. And the dragon starts attacking them. And RWBY's too exhausted to really fight. And Pyrrha is also in the same boat. And John's just not skilled enough to face a dragon. And on his own. So, out of desperation desperation and wanting to protect our friends, RWBY's Silver Eyes would activate. Again, I still believe Volume 3 is where RWBY's eyes activate for the first time. And that's not going to change. But how it's going to activate is really up to the 3 options. Now continuing with third, they activate, the dragon turns to stone, Cinder, who's knocked out and aura broke. I think it's possible he kicks the bucket here. Especially with the explosion that came from it. It possibly sent her flying. I could easily see Cinder dying from that. But again, I don't really know. Let me know in the comments which of these three you want, or let me know in the post. Post in the community tab. What you think. Anyways. After all of that, Weiss would still get sent home. Blake wouldn't go home right away. She would actually go with Yang to check on RWBY. He needs to make sure she's safe, but then decides to go home mostly because she knows the white thing. He might target them. And Yang, so she's not leaving suddenly, or without saying goodbye. In fact, Blake told Yang where she's going. And Yang isn't as depressed here. But I do believe she would stay home to just improve herself. Well, not really feeling like going with RWBY right now. Especially knowing that she may even be a hindrance. Either that or she's waiting for her news from Blake. Either way, if she goes or not really doesn't change anything. Maybe. Well, it would change what happens to Weiss, but I'm just gonna say for right now. Well, Yang's more worried about RWBY. And they have a fight about Yang wanting to keep RWBY safe, while RWBY still wants to go save others. So yeah, that could be why Yang doesn't go with them. But Volume 3 ends the same way as it did in canon, and with a few differences which won't be making any headlines in the next part, which, as always, I will be going over volumes 4 and 5, not even that part, right, mostly because of how split volume 4 is, and a little bit of volume 5. Either way, I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Yeah. And let me know in the comments which of the three outcomes you prefer. Or if you prefer just voting in the community poll so you're anonymous, that's fine. I don't mind. But please let me know, or it will dictate how I see in the next part going. And sorry for this being so late. I'll try not being as late with the other parts and other what ifs. Anyways, I'll catch you all later. Bye.